Jim Czarnik, class of 1989, came to Ripon College from Kimberly High School, earning majors in chemistry, biology, and philosophy. He excelled in the classroom from day one. He took my introductory biology class his first semester. That was a special class. There were several students that really excelled. There were 3 students had far and away the highest average in the class, nearly perfect grades. All 3 wound up in medical school and are now physicians, and Jim was one of those 3. Jim's major in chemistry biology allowed him to take classes needed for medical school, yet still have time to pursue his passion for the study of philosophy, in which he also majored, and still have room for ROTC courses and other liberal arts courses. My only regret is that he never had time for a botany class. Jim also ran cross country and at Ripon College. He received honors in chemistry, biology, and philosophy, and graduated summa cum laude. After Ripon, Jim entered the military medical school and obtained his doctor's degree. He initially was an emergency medicine physician, then senior staff officer, and then commander. During the decade of 2001 to 2011, he had numerous deployments in Iraq and in Afghanistan on nearly an annual basis as physician and as Army officer. He also served the United States from bases throughout Europe, Africa, and other places. In the summer of 2014, there was a significant Ebola outbreak in West Africa. It was a frightening time in Africa indeed, but there was also great concern that the virus would spread to other continents. As Jim said in an important interview with Chris Cuomo on CNN television, Ebola knows no borders and does not discriminate based on ethnic background, religion, or gender. Fear was such that President Obama sent nearly 3,000 Department of Defense personnel to support and assist in the government fight against Ebola. Among the first 12 to reach West Africa was Colonel Czarnik, the senior medical officer, and General Darrell Williams, commander of the military assistance in Liberia. They spent almost 2 months setting up conditions so that the Department of Defense and the US government could effectively deal with the problem. Jim was involved with the development of 17 treatment centers and life support systems. Jim is passionate in what he does, and he's also compassionate. As those of you who have seen him this evening, he usually greets with a nice big hug. And he's known as that Colonel of Hugs. He is a recognized leader in military pre-hospital care and served on the Undersecretary of Defense for Health Affairs Committee on Tactical Combat Casualty Care. Now that's a mouthful right there. He has served our country with great skill and sacrifice for 30 years on 4 continents. His intelligence and expertise have helped deal with a significant Ebola attack. Mr. President, I present James E. Czarnik, scholar, soldier, healer, humanitarian, philosopher, for the Distinguished Alumni Citation.
So Amy Gerritsen said, Jim, we're really on a time crunch, so we really need you to do 2 minutes or less. The number of times I've read in an email 2 minutes or less in the last year was really significant. Amy, I can't introduce myself in less than 15 minutes, right? So, but I will do my best. Every time that I've received any promotion, any award, any commendation, the first thing that I do is I thank my wife. Too often, we do those things at the end of our talk, and the reality is our spouse and our support network are the most important reason why we were able to accomplish what we did. And so, to set the record straight from Jim's perspective, the service member conducts the service. The spouse bears the sacrifice. And so to my wife, Catherine, who also was an Army officer and spent 15 years in the Army, who also served and then bore the brunt of the sacrifice, I want to start by saying thank you, because I could not have done this at all without your support. Will you join me in a round of applause? So Ripon College, you know what you deliver. What you don't always hear is how that is received. You have some small sense because you can read the accolades of your graduates, but you don't necessarily hear regularly how important that you were or the impact you made. I want to tell you from this perspective, from this individual, your investment of your time, your passion, your tolerance, your patience was impressive. And it took very deep-seated root in me. Because I was a young freshman student who was already embroiled in the discussion and the debate internally between hard science and soft science, between reflection in philosophical matters and the hard science of the laws that rule the environment and the world. I had similar struggles with religion. And what you saw in me was not a troubled child. What you saw in me was not just a kid who kept asking questions. What you saw was a very malleable piece of clay, but that was also a sponge. What you did was you actively invested in that sponge. And to follow on a theme, although I may not have taken a botany class, I absolutely thrived in the fertile environment in which you provided. And that extends to all of you here. The balance in a liberal arts education between hard sciences and soft sciences, the balance of philosophy as well as chemistry and biology, really gave my mind the nurturing it needed to ask the tough questions about identity, about religion, about work in the future, about service to nation, about community, and fundamentally about purpose. And you all invested in me. Whether it was the very demanding scientific writing course with Bob Wallace, who I would ask questions looking to kind of get some edge and understanding, and he'd say, "Nope, Jim, go on back." "Nope, Jim, go back." Regularly and regularly. If it was Skip Whitler, who took the very precise wording every time he presented a class, because words mean things. And he was very exacting in his love for his science. Skip, I remember that about your classes. Whether it was Rich Scamahorn, who came into the chemistry lab with a smile every day. Think about that. Who walks into a chemistry lab with a smile every day. And I don't want to forget my philosophy mentors as well. Seal Dawes, a former special operations colonel as well, Spud Hannaford, and Vance Copacaston, who helped me learn and embrace that the examined life was not worth living. The unexamined life. That's too much of that red wine. Yeah. And yet, what I also took from them is, if philosophy and their conclusions that you reach cannot be grounded in life, in everyday experience, it's just a waste of time. It's just what you do on your porch. It's just what you do to try to run circles logically around your drinking buddy in the pub. But unless you can put it into real practice, so it is meaningful to people, that's what they help teach me. And so what has Ripon done for me to help me understand and lead me to here? Ripon has helped me understand that I am not defined by my title or my training. So I am, among other things, a physician. Am I defined by medicine? I'm a colonel in the Army, still on active duty. Am I defined as an Army officer? I'm an airborne ranger. Am I defined by that? I spent most of my life in the special operations world. Am I defined as a special operator? We are not defined by what we study and what we do. We are informed by those experiences. And that's what Ripon helps you understand. You bring them all together. It is that information that you glean over time. And finally, what Ripon helped me understand was about purpose. And fundamentally for me, you helped me understand that purpose is not imposed, it is embraced. You help me understand that you can do whatever you want to do, and you can have an impact wherever you go, but you need to embrace it, because it's not going to be planted on top of you. Thank you very much, Skip, Rich, Bob, and Michelle, who was my mom away from mom, and to the philosophy class and to Ripon College. You're tremendous. You are the gem, and I am very grateful. Thank you very much.